up, gangstas? So let's talk about a couple things before I get started. First, I want to say thank you to my new subscribers. I'm surprised every time my channel grows. I'm like, what? These people want to hear me? Oh shit, that's crazy. That's my soul tribe right there. Also, it's been such a journey. Like, this channel started out as a vlog, right? Where I was just talking about philosophy, theology, like my spiritual journey. I was talking about all the shit. And now I feel like I have to reiterate some of the things that I had said before, because now we got all these new people, and I'm like, well, you guys gotta get caught up. Like, that's the whole thing. Um, and the journey has been it's been different, right? And then for a while I was like just tarot, I was like, I went from doing a lot of vlogging, but then every now and then I'd throw in a rant here and there, and then every time I do a rant, everyone's like, hey dog, do more of that. And I'm like, you guys really want to hear me me? Okay. That's pretty legit. Yeah, and then I had a bunch of people asking me about the books I was reading. They're like, dude, what are you reading? Where are you getting your information? Da 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 da. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start a book reading channel. And so I have another side quest channel where I read books, and that started out with me reading Goosebumps, to be honest. I mean, I read, like the Tao Te Ching and the Four Agreements, some Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Right now we're reading The Restaurant at the Edge of the Universe. Got Good Omens. I've got a ton of fucking books, like, and yeah, so, and I'll even link that below if you guys are interested in that. It's just, it's crazy how I totally had no direction for this when I started. I just needed to get some shit off my chest publicly, and I was like, you know what? I found a platform and I'm gonna use it, and and then it's just grown, over time, and I feel like I'm growing with it, like yeah, it's crazy. And it's not even like I have millions of subscribers. The way I'm looking at it is there are over 400 pairs of eyeballs that are looking at me, and like, for an introvert, that's wild. Okay. Like, for an introvert, that's pretty, oh my god. Like, because that's how I perceive it. I'm like, I'm in a room where I'm like, and all y'all can just look in and peer into my side of the universe, and that's been interesting, really interesting, but super dope at the same time. I'm glad y'all are here. I'm glad to be here. Glad we're doing this. Enough about the channel and myself and stuff. I just, oh, also, I was requested to do a video where I discuss, like, my different tattoos and what they mean. You might be disappointed by some of them. You might not be, whatever. I'll post that video later, because I have to remember all the tattoos I have. I have to take an inventory real fast, and then we'll do that. But let's talk about you. Alright, without further ado, let's talk about you. That's why we're really here, right? So, the moon is currently in the sign of Scorpio at 2% illumination. Yesterday was the new moon in Libra, right? Libra is all about the balancing act, right? Getting everything balanced out, which is kind of interesting, considering that, like, that was around the time Israel was able to strike back after the Hamas incident. I wasn't even going to talk about it on here, but it's been heavy. And what I think is really notable about this, and I'm not going to go too deeply into it because I try to focus on the positive stuff, but there was a positive aspect to this, is that when Israel struck back, they warned the citizens of the Gaza Strip, right? They're like, evacuate. evacuate now. That we're going after Hamas after what happened. We want all the citizens to just get the hell away. We're not trying to hit you. We're trying to hit Hamas, you know, and they understand that, like, the citizens are kind of like, they're innocent, you know, to what's going on with these more extremist groups, or this extremist group. And I think that's so notable, you know, like having that kind of morality, even in the face of all that had happened. I had kind of an emotional, like, experience watching the videos. That was pretty intense. You know, I'm an Aquarius. I don't like to cry and shit. And that shit hit me, you know. The world is pretty crazy, and all this meaningless violence, like, to what end? You know, to what end? It just seems so trivial and so primal and so unnecessary. I don't understand, like, what there is to be gained by behaving like a bunch of fucking chimpanzees, really. Because that's what it is, just a bunch of under emotionally evolved you know, because that's how I have to perceive it, is these, you know, the people who instigate wars and terror, they have to be really under emotionally evolved. Like, they must not be that emotionally intelligent, you know, they must not have, like, compassion or empathy, because how could you behead babies, you know? How can you, like, justify that? That's fucking crazy to me. I'm not gonna get too deep into that. That shit's crazy, though. And, you know, I love that most of the world is not following suit. You know, most of the world is like, you know what, we're actually kind of tired of this. It's kind of stupid. So, and I'm proud of everyone who's, you know, who's made a stance on the side of being loving and compassionate. And, you know, it's the only thing that can destroy all the hatred, really, is fighting back with love and compassion. You know, I mean, they have to defend themselves in that situation, but they don't have to, you know, they can minimize the casualties of war, you know. And I feel like Israel has done their best efforts to do so. So, yeah, there's my stance on that, my take on that. I was trying really hard to avoid. I don't like getting into politics. That's not where I'm at. That's not what I do. But it's found me. You know, it's found me, and I've been struggling with that on a spiritual level. I'm like, these people, they don't understand, like, the spiritual warfare behind the physical warfare, you know? And if they did, I can't comprehend that they would make the same decisions, you know? But anyway, enough about that. Where was I with you? let's get on your reading. Before I start crying and shit, it's not a pretty sight. You don't want to see this. So, yeah, and that's why I don't talk about politics. Shit makes me cry. I don't like it. I feel it too deeply, you know. It's embarrassing. Not really, but, you know. Anyway, without further ado, yes, new moon. The new moon in Libra, the balancing act, you know, bringing things to order, you know, and really equalizing situations. That's really the energy of this new moon. We had, I'm sorry I say so much. I'm not trying to. We had the, I did it again. We had the eclipse right? Eclipsing old cycles, old patterns, entering into new ways of thinking, new ways of being. I feel like eclipses really lead to a more global like evolution, you know. It's like eclipses close cycles out and they open up the door to new ways, you know, new things, you know. There might be new levels of struggle, there might be new levels of other things, but at least we're closing out that of the past, right? Anyway, I'm gonna pause this real fast while I regather my thoughts, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So yes, where was I? Your reading. Let's see how this is affecting you. You know, this eclipsing of the old and entering into the new moon, new cycles. You know, it's pretty fucking nice and cool that it's happening simultaneously, because I feel that it's so symbolic to the way that when one door closes, another one opens, you know, or a window opens or something else opens, you know, who knows. It's very evident that we can't carry on in the past, right? Just like how we see with retrogrades, you know, though a planet may appear to be going backwards, they never actually go backwards. And though on a society level or a systemic level, things might look like it's going backwards, but there's actually a progression that will be more evident, you know, following that experience of the what appears to be a backwards movement. So let's see what this is for you, right? Let's see what these changes are for you. What direction are you taking it, right? Who are you? What do you need to hear today? High Wraith. Longing for home, homesick for the stars. Same, brother. Inner Earth. You'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings. Facts, though. Isn't that interesting to have a feeling of being homesick for a place that your physical body hasn't been, right? It's like that feeling of like knowing you belong somewhere, but it's just like your soul is trying to point you in that direction. You're like, where is it? Where do I go? What do I do? That's really the energy I'm seeing with that High Wraith card. It's like longing for more, and not just like on a material level. It's like on a spiritual level, like wanting to experience more, knowing that there's more to life than this, knowing that there's more to your purpose than this, you know. I'm seeing new solutions and beginnings. It's saying that you'll survive this. Really tells me that you're overcoming some things. You know, I'm seeing the mountains in the background here. And when I see mountains in tarot, to me that really represents like having to overcome things. Climbing a mountain, it's hard as fuck. I don't know if you've ever tried, but it's awful. But once you get to the top and you have like that sense of accomplishment after getting there, you know, after doing all that climbing, then you just feel like this sense of like, holy crap, I made it. I did the thing. You know, it's like when you start running and then you're able to run more than a block, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm basically a jet, you know. That's the energy I'm feeling in this, is like overcoming, you know, not just like spiritual limitations, physical limitations, you know, like whatever it is that is a limitation for you, I feel like you're finding ways to overcome that. It reminds me of how Ryan Holiday really, he made a book called The Obstacle is the Way, right? And that's based off of, like, I want to say Seneca or Marcus Aurelius, and how they talked about how the obstacle is the way, right? That which stands in the way becomes the way. And that's the energy and the metaphor that's really pulling through so far in your reading, is turning the obstacle into the way, seeing that which stands in your way become your path. Sometimes it is the road of most resistance that brings forth like the best outcomes, you know? I mean, anybody who's gone to the gym understands that, right? Like, you're not gonna get like those physical capabilities of like an acrobat if you're just like sitting there just daydreaming about it. Like, you have to take action. You have to take that path of most resistance. You have to do the hard shit in order to accomplish, you know, the things that seem impossible. I don't believe anything's really impossible. I mean, look at the fucking planet we're on. We've seen, you know, I would not be surprised to see pigs flying. I mean, there was an article at my work about fish falling from the sky. Like, shit just happens, right? I mean, there was a logical explanation, but I don't remember what it was. But yeah, like, you know, like, one day, you know, what seems impossible or improbable ends up becoming, like, a real life experience, you know? Like, but yeah, anyway, I'm gonna read the cards. Kabbalah, Tree of Life, Integration, Emanation, and Life Lessons. Integrating your life lessons and emanating them, right? That goes back to that philosophy, the Kabbalah, that Tree of Life here. It really shows how, like, you have, when a tree grows, it grows in two directions, right? We oftentimes just see it growing up, but it's also growing down, right? Or any plant, but I'm particularly looking at a tree right now. It grows up and it grows down. You know, the root systems are sometimes just as complex as the branch systems, right? As above, so below, kind of energy. And which is interesting because the golden ratio is also here, right? That's a Fibonacci sequence. Basically, in the Fibonacci sequence, it's like the first two numbers add up to the third, and it carries on the pattern. And this card's all about recognizing those patterns, right? So you've got like 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 5, 3, 5, 8, 5, 8, 13, you know, and it carries on. And if you were to graph it, it looks like a spiral, right? It comes out like a spiral. And this spiral is similar to the tree because it can go infinitely down as far as it can go infinitely up. It's like the stream of growing, you know, like it doesn't just grow in one direction, it's growing in both. And I feel this energy that you yourself are kind of experiencing that growth within and without, the ups and the downs. You know, where if you grow taller, your shadow grows taller, right? It's like understanding that we as beings, we as anything, have to grow in both directions when we grow. We have the air element, right? That's Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy. Not saying that you necessarily have to be one. Just throwing it out there. And this is all about philosophy, discernment, and empathy. It's funny because a lot of air signs get treated like they lack empathy, but it's because, like, they feel things so deeply that if they were to express all that they felt, they would just look like a mess all the time, right? It would be like a butterfly or a caterpillar in the cocoon, just like a melted down mess of a thing, right? Before it becomes a butterfly. And I feel this energy that, like, discerning how to use your philosophy during times that you're experiencing great empathy, or using your empathy to develop your philosophy. It's very prominent. Hold on, I need to get a drink. I'll be right back. Your boy needed agua. Aqua purificada. When I talk a lot, I feel like it just dries out my mouth. My bad. Also, it shows you how little I've been talking in my day-to-day life. Now I'm like, this is where you're gonna get the most of it, really. So there's a lot of depth to you. There's a lot within, and a lot that you're exhibiting on the outside as a result of the growth within, the developments within. The air element is very pensive, right? The air is up here, like, whereas the water would be like around your heart chakra. The air is right up in your crown and third eye. So there's a lot of thinking energy, a lot of utilizing this muscle. This great, big, amazing muscle you got in your brain, in your skull. Apparently my muscle is lacking right now. No, I'm kidding. It never lacks. It never falters. It just lags sometimes. It's fine. Alright, so gangsters. What message do you need right now? What do you need to hear? Let's talk about your journey, what you're on about. Heavy Aquarius energy. We've got the Star card with the Hanged Man in reverse showing up with that air element. It could be an Aquarius, or you could have an Aquarius on your mind. If it's the latter, I'm saying a prayer for you, like, because that shit ain't easy having an Aquarius on your mind. I would know I'm an Aquarius. Like, we are not easy to handle. But what I'm seeing here with the Hanged Man and in reverse with the Star card is I see obstacles being removed for you. I see you, it's kind of what I was saying, like, the obstacle is the way, and when the obstacle becomes the way, the obstacle is no longer an obstacle but a stepping stool, right, in the right direction. Star card could tell me that you yourself are in the spotlight, that you're looking at the light at the end of the tunnel. You're, like, seeing that silver lining energy. I don't know how to use a freaking water bottle, apparently. Don't mind me. I got this. The third dimension is weird, okay? Like, I'm all the way up in the fifth and sixth dimension, like, at all times, so basic things like water bottles are not my forte. I'll figure it out. It's fine. We have the Wheel of Fortune All right, I think it was Matt Damon, my boy. I saw him on an ad once, and he said, "Fortune favors the bold." And you know what? He was right. He was absolutely correct about that. And that's when I see the Wheel of Fortune, that's the statement that comes to mind. Fortune favors the bold, and the Star card is very bold energy, right? And somebody who has the boldness to be seen as well as to see. Then we have the Queen of Wands, very attractive and creative energy, right? Very fiery energy, very motivated, very inspiring. I don't want to let your head swell, but it's very attractive energy. And one thing I did notice is the mountains in the background. All right, overcoming those mountains. You're climbing mountains. Literally or figuratively, or both, right? It's like this energy of overcoming shit, overcoming your own limitations, Hanged Man in reverse, right? The Queen of Wands is more than just like physically attractive, too. You know, physically attractive is cool and all, but this is about being spiritually attractive, emotionally attractive. Like, you attract your tribe through your emotional, like, intelligence. You attract opportunities through your spiritual attraction, you know, your spiritual intelligence. There's a really beautiful energy of this, you know. With the Lovers in reverse, Gemini energy. You could be severing ties with a partner or a job, or, you know, it's basically like a very prominent, like, soul connection. And I see you, like, walking away from something here, whether that's like a professional cycle that you've been stuck in, a romantic cycle, a family cycle, friendship cycle. There's some kind of cycle here coming to completion. Yeah, with the Hierophant in reverse, Taurus energy, this indicates to me that, like, it's because, like, there was no expansion, right? And it reminds me of this video I just watched. And this girl was talking about how, like, she was talking about money trees. It was funny because I was literally watering mine when she brought it up. And I was like, that's hilarious. And she's like, you know, you want to see your money tree grow, you got to get it a new pot. And I was like, fuck, you're right. I do. I need to get it a new pot. But that's the thing. Like, trees can't expand if their roots are, like, are pinned in, right? They're just like stuck in a little, you know, like they need room to grow. They need room for expansion. And I see that whatever this cycle is that you're closing out, it was like limiting your expansion in some direction here. Yeah, with the Hermit in reverse, Virgo energy, it's like you needed to climb out of your shell. You needed to leave your comfort zone a little bit. It's very important to your journey. You have so much, like, major arcana right off the bat. You have one minor arcana card out of all these major arcana, which indicates to me that you're on a very life-altering journey, right? This is like, it's not just like you're taking little side quests and making little small decisions. It's like you're really, like, changing your life through changing your habits, your behaviors, your you know, doing the unexpected, leaving your comfort zone. These are the things that are really going to transform your outcomes for you. It's kind of dope. Yeah, Ten of Wands. I see emotional burdens. Like, and with it being a 10, that's the ending of a cycle, right? Which indicates to me that, I mean, like I said, we're closing out old shit and going into the new shit. These burdens are too much to handle, right? Or too much to carry, right? you're no longer going to allow yourself to be limited by these limited things, these limiting things, I should say. If you notice, like, because the Peppermills are the wands in this deck, right? And he's carrying all these Peppermills, and it's just like he needs to get to the castle, right? And the ten of wands, this dude's on his way to the castle, and it's like, but bro, the road is long, right? And he'd get there a lot faster if he just let these emotional burdens go, if he let these things that are weighing him down go and just pursue an onward and upward motion, you know? Like, he doesn't need all those fucking Peppermills, just like you don't need the emotional burdens that you've been holding on to. And I feel you kind of letting go of like old narratives, old ways of thinking, old patterns, old behaviors, old habits, you know, whatever the case, whatever it is that's limiting you and holding you back, you're letting that shit go. Old relationships even. There's, you know, it's like a severance or like divorcing your past, if you will. You know, it doesn't have to be a literal divorce, or it could be. It definitely feels like a severance here. Like you're so tired of the way that life was going that you will not tolerate going that way anymore. You know, you will not tolerate life as it has been anymore. Shit has to change. Things need to change. Things need to go. Life needs altering, right? That's really the energy that's been coming through. Especially with that Kabbalah card, you know, that Tree of Life. If you know anything about the Kabbalah, it's all about alchemy, right? Jewish mysticism, it's alchemy. That's my shit. I'll tell you what, that's my shit. I love it. And it's all about numerology and astrology and all the things. It's the why it led to me changing my name and everything. You know, because these limitations that have been put on you in your life are just too fucking much. You're transmuting right now. You yourself are acting as the Philosopher's Stone. You're like, if I can't find something to turn my situation into gold, I'ma turn my situation into gold. How about that? Catch me outside. Right? That's straight up. Yeah, you've been patient. You've waited. Right? You've done your time. 12 years of it in Azkaban, right? That's a Harry Potter reference to those of you who don't know, alright? But what I'm seeing here with the Temperance is I see you like really like giving something your all, being very patient with something, hoping that things would change or that, you know, like that circumstances would get better or whatever. And I feel like you understand on some level that doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, is becoming insanity in some area of your life. And it's like, you're not about that life. that's really what's coming through. And with the Eight of Wands in reverse, it's like you're not waiting for life to change itself anymore. It's like you're changing life. You're taking action and you're not wasting time. The Eight of Cups in reverse, I see either you or somebody else walking away from this situation. Take it as it resonates. I feel like it's you. Could be the other way around. Like I said, take it as it resonates. But with the Eight of Cups in the reverse, It's, you know, Eight of Cups represents like investing so much time and energy into something, right? Each cup represents so much time and energy. All this. He built them up, he filled them up, he like gave love to these cups. He was like, you know, and then I mean you see the mountains in the background, right? Like he overcame shit. And then finally they got to a point where he was just like goodbye. Over it, right? And I feel like you've already had like I feel like you've walked away from something recently. With the tower, it's like the tower is falling. Um, or you're about to walk away from something, but what it feels like you're no longer waiting with that Eight of Wands in reverse. You're not waiting for things to get better in a situation. You're taking actions upon or matters upon yourself. Yeah. You're taking matters into your own hands. Okay, I was like, hold up. I'm looking at a hand and struggling to get that phrase. Literally. Like um Four of Swords in reverse, yeah. You're no longer sleeping on yourself. You're no longer like sleeping on opportunities. This is a time of action for sure. I don't think towers are necessarily a bad thing either. I feel like some things have to come to an end in order to get to where you want to be, you know? Like, you know, and if you have certain habits that are holding you back or certain people in your life that are holding you back or limiting you in some way, like you got to do what you got to do. And I see you doing it. It's funny because the Queen of Wands came out, but it feels like very divine masculine energy actually. You know, the Queen of Wands is divine feminine. It represents your creativity. You're a creator of some sort. You make things, or you like you have a creative spirit about you. However, the actions that you're taking, the mindset that you're in, feels very like divine masculine with that air energy, because it's like now is the time of like being logical and structured in the way that you're moving, and really like plotting out life as you desire it rather than life as it has been. You're not going to be sitting around acting like a victim of circumstance, right? With the Four of Swords, like you see him just laying there, da da da. Well, this was in reverse. You're not just laying there anymore. You're not just taking it anymore. Life has to take you now, actually. Right? Life has to deal with your ass now, right? It's no longer you just dealing with life as, you know, throwing it shit at you. You're like, no, I'm throwing shit at life now. And life's gonna deal with it, actually. I really like that energy. I feel like it's strong energy. Prominent. Shows a lot about your character. And we all have masculine and feminine energy in us. So when I talk about masculine and feminine, I'm not talking about gender. I would just like to note that. I'm talking about the difference between your left and right side of your brain, really. Two of Cups in reverse with the Lovers in reverse. You definitely could be walking away from a relationship situation. Could be business. Could be something else. But this feels like a breakup, dog. Hella feels like a breakup. Let me just show you all the cards. Alright, it's like you were patient. You were trying to invest into this thing. You were trying to wait it out and give it your all. But it's like you just couldn't anymore. Like, shit had to change. And with the Wheel of Fortune, I see it changing for the better, right? With that star card, I see things really looking up for you at this time. Yeah, Four of Wands in reverse could be a divorce. Or at least something that was kind of long-term or very emotionally prominent. Something that really affected you on that level. Seven of Wands with the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is the only knight in the entire deck that isn't moving, actually, right? It's all dressed up. It looks like it has a lot to offer, but it's not fucking going anywhere, right? And that's probably how you felt about this connection. Like, you felt like, oh, it's like it's seemingly perfect, except it's not fucking going anywhere, right? The outcome is not like what it looks like it could be, right? And you're no longer wasting your time on the potential of what it could be, because the reality of what it has been is just not living up to that. That's what I'm saying. And with the Seven of Wands, this is having to go in a new direction, really looking at your options, looking at new doorways or opportunities that you have, being open to living the life that you never got to live before. Experiencing life in a way that you've never experienced it. That looks like that's what the tarot cards have to say for you. So let's see what Kali has to say, right? I absolutely love Kali. I know she's a controversial goddess, but so am I. Like, come on. Gotta love her. So, let's see what Kali's got to say. I love how, like, even within, like, the realm of her own, like, followers, they're like, we don't know if she's a demon or a goddess or some weird in-betwixt thing, you know, and, like, and I love that, right? She is the light and the darkness. She is the avenger and the healer, you know, the creator and the destroyer. She is the all-encompassing, like, divine energy is really what she represents. She represents kind of all the things, not just like one side of things. She's not just like a goddess of love. She's a goddess of like, I'll chop a motherfucker's head off if I've got to, you know, like, you know, to protect her people, you know, to, you know, eliminate worse or, well, to eliminate like worse things, I guess. Kali's the reason that we have stories about vampires and shit. I don't know. You should look into her. She's dope. So, see what kind of wisdom the goddess can bring you today. Bhubaneswari. She is the rising sun, marking the ending of darkness and the replenishment of life force after illness or devastation. She creates a clean slate and a fresh start. She protects and preserves that which is worthy of the heart. She shines in a perpetual state of divine beauty and radiance, attracting to us the most supportive and honoring circumstances. Alright. I want another one. Oh, here's a perfect picture to kind of depict her energy, right? Right, like, you see, like, she's the light and the dark. She's all the things. I love her. Anyway, I'm gonna stop doting on my favorite goddess and carry on. Lalita Tripura Sundari. A chapter in your life is closing and will not be reopened. This will be reason for celebration. Whatever you need to release right now shall create the space for what is divinely destined for you to manifest through her grace. You shall enjoy a change of pace and a release from intensity. Open your heart to the beginning of a golden era. Right? So the goddess is really like opening you up to your most supportive and honoring circumstances, into your golden era. I feel like this is one like a super optimistic read. It talks about, like life has not been perfect for you, obviously. You've had your share of like dark night of the soul kind of energy, and that is exactly what you needed to develop your character. Character development is the hardest part of this whole fucking thing. The universe loves a good backstory, okay? Like, loves it. So, and honestly, from my experience, at least in life, I feel that our hardships give us good stories, and that's probably, you're probably like, I could live without all that, but would Hercules be a hero if he didn't have to go through his trials that the gods gave him? What about Beowulf or Dante's Inferno, like how would these stories become so heroic to us if they didn't have to overcome so much? How would it be so meaningful to us? Because the most relatable thing about them is that they had to survive, they had to overcome, they had to persevere, they had to show strength in the face of adversity, and they had to not back down, ultimately. And that in itself is such a challenging thing, because surrender is easy, but not surrendering and not being a victim of circumstance, instead making circumstances a victim of you, right? Like that's you're changing your stars here. You're changing your trajectory. You're changing your future and your outcomes because your actions are changing. Your mindset is changing. Your development is like creating the story that will that is worth listening to. It's creating the story that like kind of transcends time, in the same way that like Epictetus' story, it's fucked up. It's so fucked up. But it made him such a legend, like if he is fucked up. Legends don't get easy lives, right? And I feel like that's the moral of this reading right now, is that your hardship is creating a legend out of you, right? Your hardship is developing your character. Your hardship is what makes you so successful in the future in what it is that you're pursuing. Or if you're already successful, it was the hardship that brought you to this. Even like, man, like even going to college is one of those hardships that like, I was looking at some, how Facebook does those memories or whatever, looking at some posts that I had from when I was in college, and just like, I don't know when I had time to sleep between the time I was fucking blasting Facebook with memes and doing homework and going to class and going to work and taking care of kids and doing all. I'm like, how the fuck was I juggling all this shit? And like, how did I survive that? That's crazy. Like, even that, like, it's so trying, and people don't understand like the immense weight that can have on you, like on your psyche, and how like, man, there were days where I would just fucking break down. I'd be crying. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. This is so much. But I did it, and I kept doing it, and I kept showing up for it, and, you know, and it brought us all here, right? And I feel that you had to do your own set of challenges to bring you to your own best case scenario, right? Your own best outcomes. So, yeah. That's pretty much what I have for you. I'm going to stop ranting and rambling now. I'm very talkative. But, yeah, it's because you guys are the ones I have to talk to. So, yeah. Anyway, namaste. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one.